Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 243. Yeah, it's been a while. Not since frickin' May, so it's been like 3 months since I've done a Super Sentai video. Yep. Excuse me. Now the series is back. Who knows how long basically we'll be on before my break again. But we're going to be discussing the first Sentai released in the 1990s. A Sentai known as... right here. It is Chikyu Sentai Fiveman. Translated to Earth Squadron Fiveman. Yes, a team that's comprised of 5 siblings. Which I believe this is the first time this has ever did this, because they wouldn't do this again where you have a whole team made of siblings until Go Go 5, which was released in 1999, 9 years later. So, basically, we have 5 siblings. Now, what the suits look like here is interesting. The suits themselves are not bad looking costume. I mean, yeah, it's a product of basically like, you could say this is probably made in the 80s. But yeah, that's your costumes for you for the suits. It feels like a bit of a redesign. It feels like a basically simple template they've been using for quite a while for the Ranger suits. The helmets at least look different. You could say they're kind of still morphing into what we see for Zoo Range, who was turned around from Mighty Ranger Season 1. Also, here's a fun fact with this one. This is the last set of the cover that I had left to watch and review that came up before the start of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yeah, this is the last one. You're probably thinking, is that the reason I picked it next to the Turbo Ranger? Yes, that's exactly the reason why. Remember, his names are, their siblings, yeah, Hisagawa, that's the last name, Geku, Ken, Familia, Fuma, Kazuma, and Rimi. And here's something interesting, though. The pink and yellow Rangers are girls. Something in Sentai that's always been a rarity. Now you're probably thinking, did this happen with Turbo Ranger? Was this team comprised of, no. Actually, no. Turbo Ranger basically did have one one female. The last one wasn't Live Man. The last one before this, they actually had, where you had the team, had basically where you had 2 women on the team, was Masked Man. That was the last one that did it. Where the Yellow Ranger was a woman. And at this point in time, by the time this came out, the first one that actually happened where the Yellow Ranger is a guy, not a guy, a woman. I think Bioman was the first one that actually did this, where the Yellow Ranger was a woman. Yeah, something they never did before, and they very rarely ever did. Yeah, but you might be thinking, what were the other one besides Bioman they had where the Yellow Ranger was like a woman? This also happened with...
Can I have my key, please, for the dad's car? Russ wants to take a look at it.
Right through the box. Hi, Penelope.
Right where?
Valet box.
Valet box. Inside?
Yes.
Alright, take that to Daddy. In the garage.
Anyways, yes. Yeah, Changeman also did have it where they had, well, not a Yellow Ranger per se, but they did have 2 women on the team for this one. That was the second one. The third one was Flashman. This is what brought back the Yellow Ranger being a woman. Yep. And the next one after this one would be, so it happened with Bioman, Not with Change. I don't think Change Man had basically Basically, where the actually yeah, Changeman did. So mostly it was just Bioman, Changeman, Flashman, Maskman. So you have four in a row, and then you had it where, in the case of Live Man, where the Yellow Ranger is a guy and the Blue Ranger is a woman. They would not explore this concept against a Hurricane Ranger, aka Ninja Storm. So this one at the time was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This was only the fifth one where they did this like this. Jetman had it too, where we had two females on the team, and they wouldn't have this again until O Ranger. They also had Car Ranger, Mega Ranger, Ginga Man, no, Go-Go 5, no. Of the other ones I've watched, the other ones I have seen it where you have two females on the team who were part of the main team. Shurikenger, Go Sager, Go Kaiger, and that's it. Not a lot of them did. I, of course, have not seen all of them yet, but I will eventually in the future. Now, the villains, I should point out the villains of this thing. Oh, we do have a support robot, Arthur G6. This robot is with him for pretty much the whole series. Yep, he does not miss an episode. He's here from start to finish. Yeah, he appears in like all the episodes I've watched so far. Excuse me. I think he misses, let's see. Of all the episodes, let's see. He's here until like, well, he does miss, of the 48 episodes, he misses 2. The 2 he misses are 39 and 40. Not sure exactly why that is, but okay, your main villain of this series is Galactic Imperial Army Zone, but I should show off this, basically their base operations. Magma Base. Let's see. Yeah, a base they would actually have the entire series. And this is what it looked like. And yeah, it's basically sort of a similar design idea they had from Turbo Ranger. I'll talk about the robot last. So, the villains of this thing are known as the Galactic Imperial Army Zone. That's the name of this group. They're led by the Galactic Empress Meadow, who looks like a woman who's sticking her face through some kind of foam, whatever. Look, it looks like a very beautiful woman. She is played by Chika Masaru. That's who plays her. The voice is Kiko Kano. I'm not going to get into what the heck she really is. And of course, basically we have it where their base is this thing, which started in episode 2, they're based out of, I think, the North Pole. Which I think was like the second villain group ever headquartered at the North Pole. Yeah, and the members are Captain Gora, who's here for most of the series, except he misses a few episodes. He misses 5 and 39 to 41. Let me show him off here. That's him. There is also Galactic Surgeon Billion. Yep. There is also these other people part of this group. Let's see. Malman Ganga Blue, Garrison Ginga Black, Fumijin Ginga Pink, Garrington Ginga Yellow. There is Salashu Fenura, a large beast Gorlin. This thing actually appears a lot of the time. Appears pretty much a lot of the episodes, so skip a few. And in the core 3 episodes, we only had 3 monitors. Gamma is here for 2 episodes. One of the few monitors actually here for more than 1 episode. He actually is the. I'm looking at here. He's actually the only one who appears for 2 straight episodes. You have Gamajin, Torgen, and Tag Zugrin. The grunts are the Basilier soldiers. Now, as for the Robo itself, the 5 Robo, here it is. It's like they. Yes, Penelope. That's to be flat in there, Penelope. Thank you, Penelope. My niece. Hi, Rose. Can you believe that little girl is 3 years old? Yep. She's an amazing little girl. Yeah. I was looking up basically a little research about the 5 Robo. Like, design-wise, it's very similar to a couple different Robos. It's like they took bits and pieces of several different Robos when they made this one. Like, I see a lot of basically Sun Robo and a little bit of the change, a little bit of a few different Robos. I think the only one I did see here of all, I think the other one I don't think it was Mass Man. No, I think it may have been, and I know it wasn't Bioman, I know that for sure, because Bioman's Robo was all red. I think the other one was probably, I'd say Changeman was probably inspiration for this one. Massman, no, because theirs was red. I'd say mostly just Sun Vulcan, and Flashman. Yeah. That's most what I see they took a lot of inspiration from for this Robo. But here's the thing. The cockpit, believe it or not, is literally the same cockpit they use in Turbo Ranger. It just has a slight repainting job. You want proof for this? Okay. So the cockpit of this is the 5 Robo cockpit. Like, yeah, it's a similar look that we use for the next few series. Design-wise, it's similar to what they use for Jetman, Zoo Ranger, and a few other ones. But here's one for you. Here is literally the very previous series, which is Turbo Ranger. And their cockpit, which, let's see if I can find it here. Here we go. I mean, look at this. It's literally the same cockpit. Like, that's the Turbo Ranger one. I mean, appearance-wise, it's like virtually the same one. Yes, Sentai does this, where they love reusing the previous team's cockpit. Like, by the way, they would give a slight update to this in Jetman. So, by the way, their sword they use, this one is quite original. It has sort of like a ring around the hilt. Which I thought that was cool. Yes. That is very cool. The fact that basically it looks like that. Yeah, it's a very cool looking sword. I think it's a cool looking. It's very cool looking per se. I hope though I don't get flagged for that tiny clip. But there's no sound, so hopefully it won't be an issue. So, yeah. So, what exactly is the plot of Fiveman? Well, it starts out. Get this, in 1970. Yes. So we have the family with their parents, who basically is trying to revive dead planets, which was destroyed by this mysterious force returned to the Galactic Army Zone. They're here with a couple aliens, which of course they help grow plants in their planet, and like everything's hunky dory. The two younger ones who are actually twins, they're babies at this point in time. The older brother basically, well, and like they're all celebrating, take a picture, and immediately after they take this picture, the Galactic Army Zone shows up, where like they introduce themselves. Well, except for the leader, they don't meet her probably for quite a while. And of course, they open fire on them because they want to destroy all life in the universe. Yep, and then of course, Geku takes up one of the aliens' blasters and shoots Captain Gao in the face. Though it creates like a scar, it cuts his face. He's like, "How dare he cut my face?" Yes, so he hates this one kid for scarring him. That comes to play later on in the same episode. So then basically the parents stay behind and fend them off while Arthur takes the 5 children in the magma base. Yes, they built this thing in 1970. And they go to Earth. And they're there waiting for 20 years because they do confirm this in spring of 1990. That's where the 1970 comes from. And I think it's quite strange the fact that we had this family on this alien planet 5 years before a Go Ranger showed up. Yeah, it's like, did the Go Rangers not know about the fact that the magma base basically arrived on Earth? Did the Black Cross Army not notice? Yeah, it's like they're too busy fighting each other knows the fact a gigantic thing came from space. And it landed, and of course, Arthur raised the 5 children, and they all became teachers. Now, this is interesting. 2 series in a row where they're based at a school. Kinda, but the school gets destroyed by the invading army, who returns 20 years later. So, they all evacuate, and then, of course, we later see the siblings as Fiveman. We do not see him transform this episode. Like, wait, that sounds very familiar. In the first episode, we don't see him transform. Like, wait, that sounds very familiar. They did the same thing in Turbo Ranger, except that was a special. And it wasn't like the first actual episode, which was episode 2 of the series. That's one thing at least I praise this one for, is the fact we did this in episode 1, not episode 2. Yep. Now the whole thing of them basically have villains attacking a school, this is actually the second time this has happened, where they attack a school and do damage to it. They did this also in Live Man as well. Like, you watch the series, and if you watch the previous one, you're like, wow, we get so much deja vu here, but at least gotta praise the fact it's not as dark and gloomy as the beginning of Live Man. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, per se. Yes, it's a bit smaller scale. Yeah, they attack a lot of buildings, school gets destroyed, and of course, the students are transferred to school because the school, for some reason, no one is building it by the next episode. Like, no construction's going on. I'm like, nothing? What, did they seriously not bother to build the school after the attack? Yeah, I get the fact that he's patrolling for the Fiveman. You could at least fix the frickin' school. Nope. So basically, kids playing in a ruined school. Yes. I have no idea why. By the way, the thing is a cliffhanger where, like, either they destroy the monster or next episode, we debut how they grow the monster's giant size via this robot named Golan, and they refer to it as Golan 1, and they refer to the next 2 episodes as, like, well, in episode 3 it's Golan 2, and of course episode 4 is Golan 3. They take the monsters, go giant size, and they summon the 5 Robo, We see transformation sequence, and this is the first time we actually see it where it's a bit different than the other ones, where they actually get to the cockpit via teleportation. And they do question, how the heck are they advanced? Because even by 1990 standard, technology is not like that at all. Which also begs the question, how the heck is Sentient Robot basically built in 1970? Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. But at least I gotta praise the fact it's not set in some alternate future, which that did in O-Range, was ignore that when they show up in Car Ranger the following year, when they claimed that the O-Ranger was set in the year, the far future of 1999, even though it was set the very year it came out. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. So, they found the Robo. Great sequence. Is it similar to Rangers? Not exactly, no. Though we're back to the 3-segment one again. I believe this is the first time they actually did the 3-segment one. I think the last time this especially happened was... where it was 3 pieces. I think the last one was... I think it may have been Dynaman. Yes, I think Dynaman was the last special one they did this, where it was done in 3 pieces. Yes, I think so. Also, here's a question that the series not about to answer. Who gave authorization for the Sandman to leave Earth in the 60s? Yes, because I read online apparently they left Earth in the 60s and they arrived on that planet like around 1964, 65-ish. And I'm like, okay, Goku is the oldest of the kids. I'm sure probably until he must be about 6 or 7 years old. So 20 years, it's presumed the guy is presumably in his mid to late 20s. I'd say the youngest one is maybe 20 at best. The twins, presumably. And of course, they also think of a base that they have on Earth in episode 2, where it's a forward base at some space observatory, which they use the whole prisoner seeking trick. And of course, that's where, by the way, when they first meet the captains, like, who are you? He's like, hi, Captain Ginyu, how are you? He's like, how does someone know my name? And Geku was like, remember who gave that scar on your face? You must be that brat who shot me. And the very next episode, like, yeah, I do remember you. Yes. I'm like, that's actually really good continuity, the fact they remembered that. But the scar is still there, but it's not mentioned in the next episodes. And then, of course, like, the very next episode is basically, like, right after the opening 2-parter, which, by the way, they did this also with you're probably thinking, opening 2-parter, did Turbo Ranger also have a 2-parter open up the series? Yes, they did do that. Yes, so second series in a row, they have an opening 2-parter. Now you might be asking, okay, did the series come out of this one? Did Jetman have an opening 2-parter? Excuse me. No, this was actually, I think it was, I think it was an opening 3-part, yeah. That basically, where instead of basically being a 2-parter for 2 series in a row, we have a 3-parter to start the series off. Yep. So, I at least got praise back. Jetman did something different. Yeah, but you're thinking, okay, what about Live Man? Did it start up with a standalone or a 2-parter? Which was the preceding thing. Yeah, this kind of was too loose to connect episodes. You could say it is a 2-parter, but that's kind of in a way basically what it is. Yeah, but at least they had storylines and developed the characters. Though this was the first series since since Live Man, there were 2 series before, where the Rangers knew the villains before the start of the present day events here. Which I almost got praised the fact that there's not much death in the openings title sequence like it was in Live Man. And I at least also got to praise the fact that Fiveman was much better trained than Live Man was. Yes, they clearly knew what they were doing, they were inexperienced, and plus also, they weren't having trouble fighting the freaking grunts half the time. That was one of the biggest gripes I had. I mean, I love the suits, I love the story, but the biggest problem I had with Live Man was the fact they had trouble fighting the grunts. And it kept having trouble basically fighting them when it was freaking 3 of them. Even was 5 basically was an issue. Gotta praise the fact it's even though we're borrowing some ideas from previous series, at least we're improving on those ideas. Yes. Now, I did hear that the guy who created this one, he did work on Top Ranger as well, but after this series, he left. He came back for O-Ranger, and he was done with Super Sentai altogether. Yes, so this was his penultimate one he ever did, because he didn't do the next few. No. Some say basically that we're pointing to I think it was Cocker Ranger is basically Super Sentai's low point. Other people have said basically it was Turbo Ranger Fiveman. And what kind of saved Sentai, some people point to Car Ranger, but no, it was actually stuff like Zoo Ranger, Die Ranger, those two basically along with not O-Ranger per se. O-Ranger basically, I think it was kind of a low point with that one, not Cocker Ranger. They say it was actually Mega Ranger. And they put all the good stuff forward. But then basically, like, with the first episode, it's most like a possession episode where we're possessing a kid. It's a bit of a loose follow-up. It's like a small epilogue to the opening two-parter, where they're at the school once again, and the school is never seen again next episode, kind of. So, in the very next episode, we have everybody getting drunk. People, dogs, and cars. All because of this sake, where they turn water into sake. And this is also done, this came an idea of doing this because of a party. And according to them, they've actually used this plot before. There's for other plans. And it's also mentioned, I should point out though, in this first episode, the first episode of Fiveman, they do bring in the fact that Earth is going to be the 1,000th planet they destroy all life on. And the plot of this thing, in the case of the villains, is to make their leader immortal. That's it. Which begs the question, what's the point of them anyways? Good question. But in the case of this opening first 4 episodes, I actually kind of enjoyed this. Yes. I thought the plot, like the episode 4's plot was a bit silly, but the opening 2 part was really good. I do like the fact that in the case of the 4th episode, we have where the Yellow Ranger gets a character-focused episode. I'm like, that's quite cool. In the case of 3, it was the Red Ranger. Okay, so red, then yellow. Okay. I don't mind these at all. Now you might be thinking, like, is episodes 3 and 4 filler? I think in the case of 3, I don't think it is. 4, I think of kind of as filler. Because it doesn't advance the story at all. Not that much at all. Not really. But yeah, I've been talking for quite a while, and I'm talking almost surprisingly 30 minutes. Yeah. And I'm only discussing 4 episodes in the introduction to the series. But yeah, that's it, particular view. I'm going to do one comment corner, and then basically I'm going to go straight to Masuka Tensei. Okay? Next view. Bye.